Have you noticed how the fundamental concept of work is just completely fracturing and reforming right in front of us? The traditional 9 to 5 is definitely not the only path anymore. So today, we are going to climb what I call the ladder of leverage. We're starting at the very bottom, looking at the sheer physical grind of earning $50 a day, and we're going to climb all the way up to the top rung, where creators are literally using AI leverage to scale their incomes up to $50,000 a month. It's a wildly fascinating evolution, and I am so excited to guide you through this explainer.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is the roadmap for our climb today. We'll start with the modern gig economy, move into earning $50 daily, explore the platform labor reality, jump up to the AI freelance upgrade, and finally, finish off with building scalable digital empires.
Step 1. The modern gig economy. Now, thanks to things like smartphones and high-speed internet, the definition of a full-time job has totally shifted. We aren't just competing in our local towns anymore. We're in a global, planetary labor market. Today, we define gig workers as independent contractors and on-demand workers who are navigating formal agreements through these digital platforms. And you know what's kind of funny? The word gig to describe a temporary job isn't actually new at all. It traces all the way back to 1952 when the author Jack Kerouac wrote about his temporary gig working as a railroad brakeman. Basically, we've just digitized Jack's railroad. To put the sheer size of this into perspective, just think about the number 162 million. A McKinsey study found that this staggering figure represents the number of people doing some form of independent work across just America and England alone. When you extrapolate that globally, you quickly realize we are dealing with a massive workforce. This isn't just some niche internet trend. This is absolutely the new normal.
Step 2. Earning $50 daily.
And this brilliantly illustrates the very first rung of our leverage ladder. This is the highly accessible physical grind where millions of people start out. But there's a really stark contrast here. With traditional gig work, like driving for Uber or DoorDash, you are directly trading your time for money. You have to be physically present, and you're limited by your local geography. But on the flip side, and this is exactly where we're heading today, is digital asset work. This completely separates your time from your income, it's highly scalable, and you can literally do it from anywhere on Earth.
Now, if you are currently grinding it out on that first physical tier, financial expert Ramit Sethi has some super tactical advice for consistently hitting that $50 a day mark. You've got to be strategic about it. Drive during peak commutes and weekend search pricing. If you're delivering food, make sure you're hitting those lunch and dinner rushes. You might even want to try multi-apping, which is where you juggle a few different platforms at the same time. But most importantly, you absolutely have to save 25 to 30% of your earnings for independent contractor taxes. Because let's be real, no matter how shiny your 5-star Uber rating is, it is definitely not going to pay your tax bill at the end of the year.
Step 3. The platform labor reality. Before we keep climbing, we really need to take an objective look at the socioeconomic realities of this system to understand how platform-based labor actually works behind the scenes. That brings us to a really crucial academic concept, the cybertariat. It refers to precarious workers whose daily subsistence is essentially managed and subordinated by algorithmic decision-making systems. The architecture of these platforms is almost genius at concentrating the benefits at the very top, while the algorithm seamlessly, and sometimes pretty ruthlessly, manages the day-to-day existence of the actual workforce at the bottom.
And then we have this concept of ghost work, which is fascinating. Ghost work is task-based human labor that is completely invisible to you and me. It involves real people doing tiny, discrete tasks behind a screen, things like tagging photos or verifying data points. And the deep irony here? These human workers are invisibly training the exact same machine learning and AI systems that are revolutionizing the upper tiers of the gig economy.
This intense dynamic is exactly why we're seeing massive legislative battles over how to classify these workers. California's Proposition 22 is a great factual example of this. This legislation essentially created a third classification for drivers. They aren't traditional employees, but they aren't completely unprotected independent contractors either. The law exempted companies from offering full traditional employee benefits, but in exchange, it guarantees 120% of the local minimum wage for active driving time, and it even provides a health insurance stipend if you're working more than 15 hours a week. It perfectly highlights that ongoing real-world tension between wanting independent flexibility and needing traditional employee protection.
What's more, when we look at the data, it becomes clear that algorithms don't just automatically erase societal inequalities. Objectively speaking, gender pay gaps persist even when a line of code is handing out the assignments. On Uber, the gap sits at about 7%. On Amazon's Mechanical Turk, it's around 10.5%.
Research shows this is partly because women are just more likely to have caregiving responsibilities that interrupt continuous work, which prevents them from maximizing those algorithm incentives. And all of this is happening alongside a global rise in physical workplace hazards for gig workers.
So, seeing the limitations and the physical constraints of that first rung, it brings us to a truly pivotal question. How do you separate your time from your income? How do we break through that ceiling?
Step 4. The AI freelance upgrade.
Let's move to the next tier and see how this builds. Welcome to the level where we completely drop the physical labor and start using software leverage instead. Content creator Kensington Abdurazik broke down how freelancers are actively monetizing specific AI tools right now. For instance, you can use Opus Clip to chop long YouTube videos into viral shorts and easily charge $30 to $50 for content repurposing. You can use Copy.ai to whip up ad copy. 11 Labs creates stunningly realistic voiceovers for faceless YouTube channels. Heijin can literally turn text into a talking avatar spokesperson, and Runway ML generates cinematic animations for the music industry. You just combine a powerful tool with a specific action, and boom, you instantly have a digital earning method.
But the absolutely crucial point here is what happens when you stack these tools together. You don't just use one, you create an entire pipeline. Step 1. Generate a highly engaging script using Copy.ai. Step 2. Paste that script into 11 Labs to get a hyper-professional voiceover. Step 3. Import that audio into Heijin or Runway ML to generate the final video visuals. By stacking these specific tools, you take a basic $30 gig and transform it into a $100 per project premium service for businesses. You are officially leveraging AI.
Step 5. Building scalable digital empires.
Welcome to the very top of the leverage ladder. This is where physical constraints just completely vanish, and your income can genuinely scale to numbers like $50,000 a month. A brilliant example of this comes from the Simply Digital Blueprint. It's all about turning existing text into highly lucrative, passive audio assets. First, you pick a high CPM topic, meaning something advertisers pay top dollar for, like AI or personal finance. Next, you feed articles or research right into Google's free Notebook LM tool, which instantly generates a lifelike conversational audio podcast from that data. Finally, you take that shiny new audio asset and sell it as an online course, a monetized podcast, or gated behind a private community platform like School. You build the asset exactly one time, and it sells infinitely.
Now, what's really interesting here is how a highly leveraged digital creator actually diversifies their income. Let's look at a breakdown of creator Adam Enfroy's monthly revenue. He pulls in $25,000 a month just from affiliate marketing, another $15,000 from digital products and communities, and $5,000 from ads and YouTube sponsors. That is a massive, highly profitable digital empire. And the most staggering part of all of this, because his leverage is so dialed in, he reports working just 15 to 20 hours a week to manage the whole shebang.
But wait, before you think climbing this ladder is just about letting robots do all the work, listen to what Adam has to say about long-term success. He notes, trust is the true moat that you can build around yourself. Pasting AI content won't do that. Because yes, while AI incredibly speeds up your production and acts as your graphic designer, your copywriter, and your video editor all rolled into one, ultimate success at the top of this ladder still requires an authentic human connection. At the end of the day, people buy from people they trust. Which leaves us right here at the end of our climb with one final, incredibly provocative question you need to ask yourself. As the world of work just continues to shift and as this ladder stretches higher and higher into the digital realm, in the modern gig economy, are you managed by algorithms or are you leveraging them? I really hope this explainer gave you a clear map of where things stand right now and inspires you to start building your own digital assets. Until next time, keep learning, keep leveraging, and I'll see you in the next explainer.